Okay, thank you guys so much for joining Simply Watching Aguilar. As you can see, we're jumping right into the video here. This is a tool that I'm using to remove the fan. I've never used anything like that, and quite frankly, I don't know if I used it right, but the truth is that it worked for me. As I'm working, I want to thank you guys for watching my videos. I've had a pretty good response. Like I said, I'm not really a YouTuber by trade, but this is just a little something that I'm doing, and I appreciate the people that are encouraging with your comments and giving me thumbs up on the videos. Thank you guys so much for that, as well as the extra 8 subscribers. Again, I know it's not a massive amount like all those other big time YouTubers, but every one of you counts. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, I welcome you guys to do so, just so we can have a little community and maybe see if you like the videos that I'm working on. So as you can see, I use this tool and I just basically cranked it to remove the radiator fan. And as you can see, the fan clutch is caked with some sort of greasiness of over the past 20 some odd years. Remember, this is a 1994 Ford Ranger. And it looked like it needed some help there with the fan clutch. But we managed to get it out with that tool. And obviously it left some opening to work on the water pump, which is something that we are going to be working on today. So I'm going to be cutting in and out of my narrations to show you some of the video. I'm doing mostly narrations because when I was working, I had people coming over, chatting with me, and so I didn't have too much of a chance to focus on the narration directly. Okay, so please bear with me as I go ahead and do that. But as you can see, we're moving over to bringing the fan clutch to the floor, and I was removing the screws or bolts because those are the ones I'm going to need to install to the new fan clutch. Alright, so as you can see, the clutch bolts are out and the new fan is there. So what I did is I got the new fan and I spray painted it. And I know it does not look the best for many of you, but you know what? Why not? I had a lot of this spray paint left. It's a high temperature spray paint that I decided to use for the fan. And now I'm actually cleaning the fan shroud. Obviously, that's pretty obvious. I'm using this Totally Awesome spray, which is called Totally Awesome. I think it's the orange one. And it cleaned it up pretty well. It degreased it and took out the nasty spots. So yes, I know you're going to find out in a few moments that I am also going to clean the fan shroud. So sorry for all you purists out there, but that's just a little something I decided to do. All right, don't give it don't knock it till you see it at the end. Some of you might think it's okay. But yeah, here it is, me washing the shroud and about to spray paint it. I decided to come up to the front where the shade was to finish cleaning the shroud because, well, I have shade and I was standing in the sun, so I decided to do that. I'm using isopropyl alcohol 99%. This is just to remove any other grease or contaminants that are on there, just so that the spray paint could adhere a little bit better to the plastic surface, but I'm sure you guys know that. So here I am. I'm going to I'm going to paint. Okay, so I'm going to paint my fan shroud with this paint right here, high heat paint. I know some of us don't like it, yes I know, but again I'm painting it because I have a bunch of this paint, and hey, why not, May look tacky, sorry to the purists out there. But why not, you know? Why not? Practice my painting, I guess, in my paint booth. This is what it looks like. So now that the shroud is done, I just went back and did the back of the radiator fan, and came out pretty good if you ask me. And I think my spray booth bed is working just fine as well. Don't worry, I'm not gonna leave it red on the bed. I take care of that. I fix it. Alright, so instead of recording and watching paint dry, I decided to now come to the front so we can tackle the first part of the car, which is the water pump. This is the power steering, but that's fine. But we're going to move ahead to the water pump. Let's see how we start. So the tensioner pulley right here. I'm using a 15 millimeter. Okay, so I was narrating here on the video, but there was an ice cream truck that just, I think, stopped right in front of my street when I was doing this, and it was just a bit too annoying. So I spared you guys that torture. Anyhow, this is the serpentine belt, also known as the fan belt for some, and for the most part, it was, I guess, somewhat okay. It did have some cracks along the grooves. But, you know, I was going to definitely change it while I was there, right? But this is the actual water pump that we're going to try to get to, right? The pulleys needs to come off and all that good stuff as well. But I've never done it. And like I say, we'll see exactly how this comes along. But another thing that I wanted to show as we were progressing, as I got down here, was this hose. Take a look at this hose right there. Yeah, you guys see that crack? Well, I'm pretty positive that that's where all the fluid or liquid or coolant was coming out of. And you know what? Realistically, who knows? Maybe that was the only problem and my water pump may have been okay. But I already had the water pump and it doesn't hurt to change it. It looks like this is the original water pump that was on there for the 91,000 miles of its life so far. So hey, why not? I was just going to change it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the bolts from the old one and put them onto the new one so that I know which ones go where. Right, so we'll just put them on. Alright, so we're switching over to the GoPro just because I have an issue with the other one. So one thing I did notice when I pulled out the bolts is that they look pretty oily. The second one is even caked, even more so. Alright, so here we go. We are taking the bolts out of the water pump. And as you can see, or as you will see, I believe there are 11 total bolts. I'm sticking them into the corresponding slots of the new water pump. Sorry for shaking you guys a bit right here. But I'm trying to give you guys a slightly better vantage point. I think that's a pretty good shot, aside from, you know, my big face there. But anyhow, so taking out the bolts one by one, hoping that I'm doing it right, hoping that I don't damage anything else in the process. My biggest concern was maybe one of the bolts would be rusty and it would crack off and then I'd be in trouble. I know I've seen some videos on how to remove broken bolts, but I did not definitely want to deal with that at all. So I was praying and hoping that they would come out just fine. And little by little, they were coming out just fine. So let's continue. Until they weren't. So I managed to get them out, but I thought, you know what, very simple, the bracket here would move and I'd be able to get access to the water pump, but for some reason I was not able to move that bracket. I do try other means of persuasion as far as moving that bracket goes, but I was not successful at doing so. I thought I had taken all the bolts out, but there was still 2, I believe, pending as I was looking and comparing to my other one. See, I'm trying to pull that bracket out. That bracket is where the water pump rests. I'm sorry, not the water pump, the power steering pump rests, as well as the air conditioning compressor if you have one. Mine does not. So this is one of the means of persuasion I decided to use. Yep, good old-fashioned crowbar. I was moving it a little bit, but not too much. You know, I didn't want to damage or bend anything. I figured if it was going to move, it was going to pop out, but it didn't. So I thought, you know what? Am I stuck? Is this it? What do I need to do now? But thankfully, you know, I had an epiphany, or I think maybe I watched another YouTube video that showed me what it is that I had to do. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to loosen this and a bolt back there so it can come up this way. Alright, and the one that I'm removing is this guy right here. I hope you can see something. It's also 13. And the hope is that by taking this guy and that guy up, I can bring everything over this way and have access to those bolts. So let me continue with these guys. And this holds the fuel lines in. Just got to be careful. Remember what mount goes on there, or what goes mounted onto this one. 13. Get these fuel lines out of here, and then hopefully, there's something else I need to loosen. Wait a minute. Okay, so after I looked around and figured things out, I guess I saw that there was a little bolt that had an Allen wrench head, hex key, well, whatever it is. I use one of these things, and I took off this tensioner, and that did grant us access to one more bolt. So you guys can see the bolt right there towards the center. I'm going to try to take it off with another piece. So there it is. The bolt is right there, and we're taking it off, and that did help. So there you go. After a lot of cranking, moving, lefty loosies, I finally took out the second to last bolt for the water pump, and then we had to move the bracket that was just above it. So what I was trying to do, I was trying to lift this to get access to the water pump. There you go. So as you guys saw, the tensioner pulley was also concealing the last bolt, and here we are. Well, actually no, the bolt to remove the bracket. So once I remove that bolt, then the bracket comes down. Pretty sneaky, Ford. Pretty sneaky. You guys can see that. So here we go. There's 9/16 once again. So the 9/16 and the last one, we need to remove the water pump. Again, I'm not 100% sure if I needed to replace it, but it's one of those since you're there. And I already have my can at the bottom, my pan, sorry, to catch any coolant that might be left in there. Okay. Alright, so now this is really easy. Looks like it still kind of works, but clearly has 2 years on it. So So now that we got the water pump off of the engine block, the next little item of contention was that hose. The clamp holding the hose was on there pretty good, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not, but the hose kind of also seized onto the actual water pump, making it a little bit difficult to remove. So I kind of had to give it a little bit of squeezing, moving to the left, moving to the right, and just being able to take it out of there. And it was a little bit of a struggle. I felt like just maybe cutting it, but you know, eventually it did come off, and that was good, I suppose. So here it is, me trying to struggle to take that off, and it just would not come out. I don't know if you guys can comment down below if you ever had a situation like this where the hose just wouldn't let go. Alright, so let's see. This is the hose that was a little bad. This is the water pump. Got it. Yeah, we got it. Go at the top where the water comes in and out of the engine. That one takes you down to the bottom of the water of the radiator. Radiator hose. I mean, there's another hose here at the top that goes to the heater core. This is the one from the top of the radiator going into the thermostat, and then the water just travels, comes out, and up through the engine and out. So that's kind of how this goes there. So we got to clean the surface, make sure that everything's nice and clean, so that when we put the new one on, we have no issues and we have no leftover gunk that's trying to tag along. Alright, let's keep going. Alright, here we go. So what I'm going to do now, this is the water pump area, and as you can see, it's very oily around it. This oil most likely came down from the gasket that goes right there, and so we're going to try to take some of this off, see if, you know, before and after, if it looks a little bit better. So we're probably going to do it faster. Tilt it down. So taking off that oil was a little bit more of a struggle than I wanted to deal with. I thought, hey, you know what, I'll just spray some of this stuff and it would come right out, but it involved more scraping than I was willing to invest, so I just did a tiny piece, but I think I still got a good amount of oil out of there. And I'm sure had I invested more time and effort and good old-fashioned elbow grease, it would have came out nice and polished or clean. But I just took off some of the superficial crude or crusty oil there, and that was it. You know, that was it. I thought that was decent enough of a job. So when we clean the area where the gasket goes, we're going to use a plastic spatula, not a metal one, because the metal one, even though we think it's harder, it might scrape up the surface, and then it'll leave a tiny gap, and that's where you're going to get water leaking from. So use plastic, and the plastic one is not going to damage it. I mean, granted, if you're there grinding for hours, then of course it may damage, but for the most part, just simply scraping it on top should not cause too many problems here. While we put the new water pump in there, I'm going to clog that up so that we don't get any issues, anything going in there, into the engine or there. This one doesn't really matter because it's going down, and I'm going to change that hose right now anyway. So I'm going to bring the camera around this way so you guys can see from the front what it looks like. So you guys can see, this is the surface where the water pump will be going, and that's what it looks like compared to how it was. A lot better. Alright, bring that up. So that one should be removed. It has the pulley still. Pretty beat up. We're going to put the new water pump on there. Right? I don't know if you can tell which one's the new one and which one's the... So those are the ones we're using. And yeah, let's see what we can do. First we need to take off, this thing is called a pulley. We need to take that pulley off and then put it on here and then get it going. Alright, so use this tool here. I use this guy to hold these screws back here, like so. And then once they're being clamped on, I was able to easier, remove these bolts. So now that they're there, it should be easy to take them off. So we're going to clean this up. This side is going to be trash. Again, even though it looks kind of okay, like it could still work. Yeah, we're going to dump it. Look at the back of that one. Look at the back of this one. So which one should we use? Alright, exactly. Okay. It's done. Let's clean this up. Okay, so what I'm using is isopropyl alcohol to clean out any grease of this. I will be painting this also. Yes, I know some people are gonna say, why are you doing that? It looks so ugly. Sorry guys, but I have a whole bunch of this paint and I want to use it. So we'll see. It'll probably wear off eventually. But the isopropyl alcohol takes off any oil residue on here that we don't want. That's gonna stop the paint from adhering to the material. All right, so we're gonna give that some time to dry. The nice California sun is baking it, so it looks really nice. And for those of you who remember me doing the fan shroud, here it is, nice and dry to the touch. Looks really nice, right? And well, we'll see how long it lasts red inside of the hot engine bay. So there you go. We're just gonna do that. Just kind of give it a little paint, and yeah, let's see what else we can go do in the engine. The thing that we're doing is we're going to install the water pump right there. There's a lot of light, so maybe I need to bring the camera down here to see better. See, like maybe right here. You see there's a water pump. Try to clean it up pretty decently, I guess. I mean, I'm not an expert clearly, but we're going to try to go ahead and put the new water pump on there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to install the water pump. Should probably take off the tape that I put in. Put the little tape right here. That one. Put tape for the top hose. I know there was another tiny hole somewhere. Oh, here it is. You know what? I think I need to put the pulley on first. I'm not sure. Let me check into that. And I'll be right back after these. Wait for it. Wait for it, because this is satisfying, taking the tape off. Check that out. Factory made. Yeah, right. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so this is our TV. what it stands for, I don't know. But it makes gaskets, 100% silicone gasket and sealant maker, right? I'm going to put some because I'm about to put the I'm going to put the water pump. So this is how I puncture the top. There's a little poke right there, a little something. You poke it there.
That's useful.
And there you go, right? So we have it on there. Then we're going to go ahead and put in this part here. Again, I've never really used this. I'm totally new at this RTV stuff. Let's see what happens. So it says that I'm supposed to put RTV from the gasket to the engine block. Okay, so that's this part here. I don't know if I should just put it here and then glue it there. Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. What's the worst that can go wrong?
Well, it glues it shut so no water goes through.
It glues shut. That could be a problem. True. Alright, so we got this RTV stuff. So now it's kind of like a glue. I'm going to put it over here where it belongs. Alright, so I'm hoping that's on right. Now, for the good part, putting the radiator on there. So I put in the pulley. Looks pretty good, eh? I don't know if I should put the fan on first or at the end. I could probably put the fan on after. What do you guys think? Yes? Hope I'm doing it in the right order. Alright, so let's go ahead and introduce this here. Okay, so I'm hand tightening these bolts for the water pump, and then I'm going to torque them to their spec, and hopefully it'll be on there nice and tight or nice and right. I guess nice and right is the best way for this. So this bolt right here that I'm doing now is the one that you, oh no, I'm sorry, it was this one that I just did that you definitely need to move this harness for, because this harness is 100% in the way when you try to work on it. Okay, so look, there's a bolt right here that I can't get with this one. So I need a deep socket. Do I have 11 bolts in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, right? Alright, so now we have to tighten them. Now this book over here that's following me says that we need to tighten up the water pump right there, bolts. It's the 3.0 V6 engine, 25 and earlier, 72 to 108 inch-pounds. The long bolts are 18 inches and the short bolts are 89 inch-pounds.
This is how dirty it is for holding that for like 3 minutes.
Yes, nice. So now I'm going to put this back up. And then we're going to start piecing things back together. Oh, yeah. Alright, guys. So that's pretty much it for this video, this part. Stay tuned for the next part. Once again, thank you guys for watching. And please, a reminder to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I greatly appreciate it. Each one by one. You guys are valuable subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I hope this was at least remotely entertaining. We do continue to do some more work obviously here. We probably move on to the heater core next, but thank you guys again so much. Please do that whole, you know, like, share, subscribe stuff. I would greatly appreciate it to help the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for your patience, and take care everybody. God bless, and see you next time.